The following is a Papi Chulo Radio original program. The views and opinions expressed in the commentaries and or interviews in the following program are solely of the individuals and are not the views of Papi Chulo Radio, its parent, affiliate, or subsidiary companies.
Welcome to Are You Afraid Coven, the unofficial American Horror Story Coven internet radio show exclusively on Papi Chulo Radio. Today is Wednesday, November 20th, 2013, and I'm your host, Papi Chulo. Here on Are You Afraid Coven, we're going to recap, review, and dissect the latest episode of the hit FX series. We're also going to deliver directly to you the biggest news regarding American Horror Story Coven, so you're going to get all of the casting scoops, episode titles, ratings reports, and spoilers during the latter half of the show. But don't worry, we're going to warn you with a spoiler alert. Please welcome my fellow Covenites. I will let everyone know that Dead Lee will not be with us tonight. He had a tea party to attend to. But we do have a very special guest co-host who you all know. First up, let me introduce the witches of the night. First up, it's Darielle.
Hey.
Okay.
Very lackluster.
Well, there's all of that.
Like what?
Next up, it's Cat's Meow. Please try to save us.
Hey. Did I get it?
I was trying a new approach and it didn't work. So hello, you guys.
And last but not least, please introduce a man that was on everyone's tongues last week, and that sounded nasty. He's a witch hunter. His name is Marshall Evans.
Hello.
Okay. Moving right along, let's get into our recap of episode 305, which was titled The Axeman Cometh, and it aired on November 13th, 2013. I have no idea what to do with each of you. But let's start off, as we usually do, by reading the press release for the episode, and it's short, as they usually are. So here we go. Zoe, Queenie, and Nan make contact with a dark spirit trapped in the academy. Cordelia's new power brings on a heartbreaking revelation. So, what did everyone think initially of the episode? The initial reaction? We'll start off with our guest, Marshall Evans.
I think I said this the last time I was here. I'm confused. This show confuses the heck out of me sometimes. But I think overall, it actually was a good show. I'm not sure how I feel about how one of my favorite characters is being portrayed now, but, we'll talk about that later.
Miss Kitty? Were you done, Marshall?
I am.
Y'all are getting the low central voices tonight.
Like, we'll talk about that later. Anyways.
He was doing a Dario voice.
He was. Hey. I definitely thought the episode was a change of pace, because the last episode had my heart just jumping and screeching and just like whatever, holding on to the side of my couch. So this episode wasn't all that eventful, but like Marshall says, we'll get into that later.
What about Miss Darielle? Miss Sensual Seduction. Oh, let me not say seduction.
I'm going with that.
I didn't say speak seduction.
Oh god, the shade of it all. I kind of like that some episodes are really hold on to your seat, action filled, and then I like that some of them are more informative and mellowed out, because it's a good balance, kind of like this one. This one was although there wasn't a lot of action, it moved the story along a lot. Like a lot of new things were introduced, new kind of, well, I don't want to, get into all that, but a lot of new things and a lot of new information was figured out. So I honestly liked the episode. Again, wasn't that eventful, but I still very much enjoyed it.
Absolutely. I agree with Dariel. I like episodes where they fill us in on sort of what's going on, like these great exposition heavy episodes, because it sort of sets up what's to come in the next episodes. It always seems like the episode right after like the big showy Halloween two-parter on American Horror Story always is kind of a little bit more mellow, because we get all of this action and forward plot movement during the Halloween episodes, that once the episode that immediately follows it comes around, it's a little bit more calmer, and it sort of sets up what's going to happen during the latter half of the season. And boy, were we set up for a lot to come, and we're going to get into that as we jump into the official recap. So we start off the episode by flashing back to the year 1919. Jazz was all the rage, and what was also all the rage was this crazed serial killer known as the Axeman. And we're introduced to the Axeman as he's typing up a letter to the paper, which basically is telling everyone that if they don't play jazz music on a certain night, that the Axeman is going to basically kill them. They're going to get killed. The ones that are playing jazz will be spared. And so we're introduced to the young ladies that are part of Miss Robichaux's back in 1919, which is led by Meryl Streep's daughter. And they're basically all like, you know, we're on the cusp of women's suffrage. We are independent. We're strong. We're powerful. We're not going to cower to the Axeman. So they decide to defy the Axeman's letter that he submitted to the paper and not play jazz that night. So we're introduced to the actual Axeman. It's the night that he had stated to the paper that he was going to terrorize those that were not playing jazz. And as he's walking the streets, he hears the sweet melody of jazz. We're introduced to the man as an actual jazz musician. He's a saxophonist. And as he's walking through the streets, he approaches Miss Robichaux's, and they're playing opera in stark defiance to his letter to the paper. So he enters the academy, and he climbs the stairs, and he finds the phonograph that's playing the record. And we're introduced once again to Meryl Streep's daughter, and she's using some tarot cards. She's, putting them on the floor. She's got a hood on, and he sort of basically tells her, you defied me, so you're going to get what's coming to you. And so she actually pulls the death card out, and he says that's appropriate. And so as he takes a swing with his axe, he hits the floor. And she appears behind him and starts stabbing him, and then all of the other girls that were with her when they sort of decided to defy the Axeman come out of nowhere and start stabbing him and stabbing him and stabbing him and stabbing him and stabbing him until he's basically dead on the ground.
They stabbed him to death, basically.
Exactly.
It was the most, too. Like, oh my god, it was just so much.
So what did everyone think of the introduction to the episode and the flashback to 1919 and the visit to Miss Robichaux's and the introduction of the Axeman? We'll start off with Miss Kitty.
I liked it, especially if you know about the Axeman. But the only thing I didn't like is that they pretty much made it look like he specifically targeted women. Because he didn't really target anyone. It was just kind of like, hey, you're not playing jazz. And he would also kill people who interfered with it. But I liked it. I mean, besides the constant stabbing, it was very unnecessary. I liked it.
Well, Dario, you can go ahead.
I kind of like the beginning scene. I really loved seeing Grace Gummer from, I forgot what that Noggin show was, but that's Meryl Streep's daughter, in case y'all didn't know. I love her, even though she's kind of butt ugly, but I love her. I liked it. I liked how everything kind of came together. I kind of have a thing for the Axeman, y'all. He can talk some underwears off. So.
Is that the voice that you were trying to mimic at the start of the show?
No, that's who I was trying to lure.
Oh.
Well, my only problem that I had with this opening is that it is historically incorrect, and the fact that I agree with you, he did not target just women, but the other thing is that he also was not white.
Oh,
He was a mulatto man, so he was actually half black, and which is
black.
Which also plays more
I'm
historically.
fucking with you, Dario.
Which also is historically, which also would have been historically sound because back in the time of 1919, white folks were not playing jazz. Sorry. They were going to the jazz speakeasy and listening, but they definitely weren't playing it because that was still considered coon music. So it's historically
One thing that confused me about it, though, I mean, I'm
it's
glad
incorrect.
that you were saying that because
it's incorrect. Once again, Hollywood would rather white us out than actually put us in.
Well, in all honesty, I'm kind of glad they did because we don't need another villain of color.
I mean, I hear that, but the thing about it is, child, we've been a minotaur, but we can't be an axe murderer. Like really?
I don't know which one's better.
What's one of
Well,
those things,
I'd rather be a
what Marshall is trying to say is we can play a monster, we can play an animal, but we can't play a human being. It was easy for us to
it's a human being that's also a monster.
But just saying though, like it's still a monster at the end of the day. It doesn't talk. It's a fucking monster.
Exactly. And this guy, at least he can talk, and not only that, but he's actually throughout the he's going to be it's a longer character in the show, as we're already seeing. So I think
but we also see that
I mean, I'm just saying,
since we are talking about that, how many I haven't really been seeing a whole lot of people of color in even as extras in the background. I haven't been really seeing a whole lot of people of color.
We haven't really gone out of the academy that much.
Well, but when we have, of course, there's going to be black people, in Cornrow City.
They walked in.
I haven't really seen any,
they went
back
to
down.
I just want to say they've been to the French market, which, by the way, is majority black people selling things. And they've also been in the French Quarter, and we've not seen any black people. They did a whole scene of them walking down the French market when she was in the front, and they were in a line, and they were dressed all in black the very first time that she takes them out on the time. That's the French market, which is a historical black area. And yet, there were no black people. So I'm sorry, but if you went to New Orleans,
when they go to Cornrow City, there's lots of black people there.
Yeah, that's what I just.
Y'all are a hot juicy mess.
But one of the themes of the show this season is race.
Right, yeah, but still, it's in New Orleans. It's not Maine.
Thank you, and that's
that's the only thing I really enjoy the show. I like how they're definitely portraying life in the South for a black person, but I just haven't really seen a whole lot of black people.
Exactly, in terms of the story. And I mean, my thing is that also they've only just focused on one voodoo priestess throughout the whole thing, and the reality is that there are many voodoo priestesses, and even she had enemies who were voodoo priestesses. So I just felt like there's just so much that they could have gone into, and I just felt like they're focusing on just one thing. But that's just me. I still have problems with the fact that during the opening credits, Gabby Sidibe and Angela Bassett's names are not written in there, but Dennis O'Hare's name is written in there, and he's in 2 scenes.
Which one's Dennis O'Hare?
That has to do with contracts and
Dennis
stuff.
O'Hare
who's a series regular and who's not considered a series regular.
Who's not?
I would assume that has to deal more so with contracts and stuff. Who's officially a series regular and who is more so recurring. You could say the same about any other show, about people that are in it a lot, but they aren't in the opening credits because they aren't series regular.
But the difference is that Gabby Sidibe is an Oscar-nominated actress, and so is Angela Bassett, just like Kathy Bates
They're pretty main characters. They're main characters. That's one thing
main characters.
I wasn't really focused on the fact that the two black people weren't in the main credits. I was just really confused because you see Angela Bassett almost every episode. You see Queenie Precious almost every episode.
Stop.
Well, Deadly was here. You know what I'm talking about. But that's the only thing that really confused me. It's just they're main characters.
They're not.
Why are they not
Why aren't they not treated just like these other people. And, I mean, I just brought I look at how Hollywood operates. I'm sorry. And for me, the reason why they're pulling the big share of African Americans that they're pulling this season that they've never pulled before is because of who? Gabby Sidibe and Angela Bassett are in the show.
Well, probably Angela Bassett more so.
No,
Yeah,
Gabby
no.
has a huge following. Don't
She
forget,
does
she's
have
an
a fan
Oscar
base.
nominated. She's an Oscar nominated.
No, I understand that, but I don't know if she has a huge following.
She has a
No,
huge
she
following.
does. She really
She's a
does.
huge following. She has breaking so many ground for people who feel like Hollywood only looks, when they look at black people, we all have to look like Halle Berry.
Yeah.
And Gabby Sidibe is
Or
a new
Beyonce.
generation of people who
Or
don't
me.
look like that and are.
I'm tired of you.
You are a mess, Heather.
One thing
and
okay, Marshall is making a really good point because
Like-
I mean, it may not seem like she has a huge fan, but she does because, like you said, like she's she's heavy set, she's dark skinned, like
She doesn't have the typical beauty that.
no, she doesn't. Like she's pretty, but she's not like typical Hollywood pretty.
Pretty. And the thing about it is, you can tell she has a huge following when they've asked her to be on Project Runway. She's a judge on there. They've asked her to do several different things that a lot of the big actresses get a chance to do.
Mm-hmm.
So
No, I like
Move Out the
Gabby.
Way
I
movie.
just I don't know if she has a huge following. Like, I haven't seen her do that much press for the show. Angela's been everywhere doing press, from crappy Arsenio Hall to Queen Latifah.
Girl,
well, I
girl,
mean,
why
but,
did you do that?
but also, my whole thing is that, of course, Angela Bassett will be used more because Angela Bassett is more of a universal name for a certain group. So they're going to use her in a different way. But Gabby
They're
Sidibe,
definitely going to use her more in press because
Exactly, 'cause
she embodies, like, she is the black woman. She's a popular person of color that can relate. Like you said, her name is Angela. Like, I still don't know how to say her name, and I'm not going to butcher it. But it's one of those things, like, it's all about looks. At the end of
Bassett.
the day,
It's pronounced Bassett.
Shut up.
Angela.
No, shut up. But it comes to the fact, like, who are they going to pay attention more? Like, pretty
Exactly.
thin Angela Bassett or heavy dark skin Gabby
Gabby
Sidibe?
Sidibe, right?
You know what I mean? So
We still live in America. I'm sorry, and
Like,
so
it's the same
Gabby
thing,
Sidibe
like-
is not considered pretty. That's why people try to still use her in jokes. She's not considered pretty.
Hence why Cat's Meow calls her Queenie Precious.
Because that's what I know her as.
Dead Lee calls her Queen Precious,
Like,
and we don't
But
remember
I've
her.
known her, like, that's how I was introduced to her, is Precious.
Yeah,
But,
and
like,
that's
it's
how
still,
the world
it's still
was introduced
wrong.
to her.
It's still wrong, but at the end of the day, like, it's not one of those things. I can see what Marcel's talking about.
Aw.
It-
Yeah,
You're so
just like for
precious,
us-
Cat's
No,
Meow.
I
I
know
just
I
like.
am.
No, I'm not trying to bring a black and white thing up
Bitch.
big time, but I am just trying to say that I feel like there's a lot of portrayal of us that our people want to talk and tell our story, but
They can't. They won't
I
tell
always
it
feel like
correctly.
I
That's
feel
the
like
one
white
thing that bothers
Hollywood.
me.
Yeah, white Hollywood will never tell it correctly.
They
Like
use it for entertainment purposes, but when it comes to truly telling an African American story in Hollywood, they can't. They won't truly tell. They'll add in this and that, and a baby mama here or there, but they won't truly tell the story. They won't tell the richness of the African American culture. They refuse to.
do that. I mean, that's why The Butler was so phenomenal, because it was the first time that, it was a butler in it, but it also was an educated black man on the other side of the struggle. It was a universal family struggling with universal issues that other families can deal with. That's why
It wasn't
The
a
Butler
white savior coming to help.
Yeah, that's why that story.
God bless the help. God bless the help.
Exactly.
But when
You
you
got
truly
the
look
help,
into it,
and
it
then
was nothing about helping these black maids. It was
Thank you.
exploiting them and coming to them as a white savior.
Thank you.
Because, to them, honestly, they could have told their own story, but it's like, no, I'm white. Let me help you tell your story.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to Octavia Spencer.
I got told I looked like her without a wig with my hair pulled back. I didn't know how to
not
feel
a
about it.
compliment.
I really didn't know how to
Yeah.
feel about it. I was
That is
different.
not a compliment.
That was really different.
Well, I
So,
think that
wait,
Octavia
moving-
Butler, once. Oh, I just see. I'm sorry. See, I think Octavia Butler is a beautiful woman.
Octavia Spencer.
Spencer Hudson, whatever. I think she's a
Cat's
beautiful
Meow
woman.
is in her 20s. Octavia Spencer does not look in her 20s, so that is not a compliment.
I was like, dang.
that's a matter of opinion, you know.
Her black crack.
Yeah, Spencer looks like she's in her 20s.
So tired of
I
you,
don't think
Dario.
so.
Go to bed.
Okay, anyway, so as we
She's
said,
about to
my
play
only issue that I
Jessica
had
Fletcher.
the only issue that I had with the opening was the fact that I really would have liked to have seen him be played by a high yellow brother. Period.
That guy from CSI,
There's
Las
just so many.
Vegas.
Michael Ealy.
Thank you.
Who's a
He's not in
beautiful
CSI
man.
Las Vegas. That's
No.
Gary Dan.
No. I was just suggesting him. I
Yeah.
don't watch CSI Vegas.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
oops.
I mean, there's just been there would have been so many great people to play it. That's all. But anyway, they went with this
Chris
guy. Oh God, they went with this guy,
Although
and
it would be appropriate.
he did a great job. I would like to talk about what happens on later, so as we move on, because I'm still I'm over this girl in this place. So anyway, a couple of the girls in the Coven, I'm just over them. But
The one with the dragon tattoo. Okay, moving right along. So we're back in the present day, and Zoe is sort of going through Madison's things. She drops something, and she's magically led to a spirit board, a Ouija board. And she decides to use that with some of the other girls. Well, the only two other girls that are still around, Nan and Queenie, to ask the spirit world to help them locate Madison. And they do make a connection, although it's not the connection that they wanted to. They made a connection with the spirit of the Axeman. Queenie, the only one with any sense, said, "We can't continue doing this until you find out who you're speaking to." So this leads them to do a little bit of Googling. They find out who the Axeman is, and we learn all the information that basically we learned during the opening, that at least in this world he was an attacker of women and those that were defending women, and they sort of made the correlation that a saxophone is also nicknamed an axe. So they put that together. Queenie and Nan are not trying to contact the spirit again, so Zoe takes it upon herself to
dumbass.
To ask the spirit where Madison is. She promises the spirit release if the spirit, I should say, can help them locate Madison. So the spirit board spells out the word ATTIC, and that's the attic. So she heads up to the attic.
That is? No.
Yes. The more you know. So she goes up to the attic, and the stench leads her directly to what is it, like a chest?
I don't know what the hell that is. It's like a drawer or something.
It's a chest. My mom has one.
Yeah.
Those are fabulous.
Is there a body in hers?
Yes.
No, there's like shoes and scarves and shit. It's nothing interesting.
Oh, okay. So she opens that up. She finds Madison's smelly body. There's I would have been totally disgusted. Spaulding finds her and puts his hand over her mouth, and I would have been totally disgusted because you have no idea where his hands have been.
Yes.
And yeah, so we find out that she sort of knocks him over, and then she shows the girls, and they make the decision. Well, at first they were like, what are we going to do with Spaulding? They do it sort of an investigation with him. They are sort of torturing him with what would you call that thing? It's like the thing that you flip the pancakes, right?
A spatula.
Spatula?
That's a spatula?
Spatula, yes.
With the holes?
Lord.
I don't know.
She was just branding.
It's a fucking spatula.
Okay. With this, they're like heating up the spatula and putting it on his chest to like burn him, and then Nan was going to read his thoughts. And so it was really funny because he was giving all of these like eloquent, descriptive, monologue-y thoughts, and Nan would just deadpan, "No, sex. He killed her." That kind of stuff. It was really funny. And
She didn't have time to be trying to translate all of that. I love me some Ned. I'm sorry.
Yes.
She didn't have time for all of that. She's like, okay, he killed her.
yes. And
In
so
the attic.
basically,
He
yeah,
crazy.
with the spatula. No, and so Spaulding basically lies that he killed Madison so that he could basically have sex with her dead
You
body.
can hunch.
Yes, he can hunch, extra hunch.
Necrophiliac hunt.
Yeah,
It was
but
just
Zoe
gross.
really isn't buying it.
Necro hunch.
Yeah, Zoe isn't really buying it, but before she does her own investigation as to who could have possibly done it, she decides to call up on Misty Day because she needs to revive her friend. So when she heads over to Misty, we see that Misty is with Frank and Kyle, and he's smelling really bad, and yeah, so she decides to bathe him because I guess that's what you do to strangers. And as she's bathing him, he has these flashbacks to the really disgusting incest that we saw a couple of episodes ago, and he freaks out, as he should, and he, basically ransacks the little shit shack that she has, and he breaks Stevie Nicks, that is, the, what was it, like, it was a record player, or was it like a cassette player?
No, it was a portable 8-track player.
Okay.
Yep.
She's not gonna get one of those.
No.
I was like, damn, I would be mad too. Do you know how hard it is to get your hands on one of those?
Yeah.
Like, damn, she
better go on eBay and stop tripping.
She looked like she don't even know what eBay is.
Exactly. So he breaks Stevie, and that happens pretty much instantly as Zoe walks in. So Misty Day is all like, get him away from here. But Zoe's like, I need your help. And with Zoe's help back at the academy, Misty is able to revive Madison. Her first words are, I need a cigarette, but that's before a moth flies out of her mouth and a little bit of blood. But unfortunately, Madison does not remember who slit her throat. The only thing that she remembers is the color red, and that apparently there isn't a heaven. There's nothing on the other side but black. Before I ask everyone's opinions, just to sort of finish up a little bit of something that we learned over in the swamp with Misty, she's dug a sort of grave type of thing for our own Red by the name of Myrtle Snow, and she's using all of that swamp mud, alligator poop know-how to regenerate and allow Myrtle to recuperate after being burned at the stake. So I guess this is a good way. That was a good way for us to also learn maybe how Misty Day was able to recover after her own burning at the stake in the premiere. So what's everyone's opinion on the storyline so far? We'll start off with seduction. Dariel.
No, the hell you didn't.
Who is seduction and what is this going on? Y'all have some kind of inside joke.
Y'all miss. I'm tired.
That's a story for another time, but that was
Okay.
kind of an
No,
insult
you go
by-
ahead and tell the damn story because she tried to shade me and she didn't even know me,
Ooh.
bitch.
Ooh. Okay.
Oh, wait. When does seduction shade you?
Because I was listening to a recording of I can't even talk. An interview that we were doing, and I was in the chat on the site, and then all of a sudden this bitch pops in, and it says speak seduction, and I was like, I told her, and I told you, I was like, hey, and I was laughing in the interview and stuff. This bitch had the nerve to say nervous laughter, haha. No nervous laughter. You're a fucking bitch. Like, no, let's just talk about the episode.
She's a former on-air personality that was fired. Go ahead, Dario.
I really, really, really was pissed off at Zoe in this episode because I was always brought up to you. They called it spirit board in this episode. But I was always brought up, you don't fuck with stuff like that. Whether you a witch or not, like, you just don't mess with all that bad juju and spirits and stuff. And she was just undermining Queenie. Like, Queenie was like, look, bitch, you don't want to mess with this. You aren't even strong enough a witch yet to deal with all of this. And you're not even alerting the more powerful witches. You're just doing it because you feel like it. You just doing it. And then she was just like, no, I believe this. I believe in myself, looking ass. And so then she started some shit. And I really wish somebody would just slap the shit out of her. Like, I was really trying to be on her side. I really was. And you can ask anybody, look, I was liking her, but after this particular episode, she really made me mad. And she's also making me mad because I feel like she's using Misty Day. Misty Day just wanted to chill with her and be lesbians with her. And she hasn't even gone back. Let's be honest. She wouldn't even go back to chill with her or anything, but she keeps calling her and asking her for help, reviving all these dead people. What are you going to do for her?
She's not trying to be eating the fish.
Whatever. She needs to do something. She was like, well, maybe you should spend the night sleeping real bad for once, or whatever the hell she said. Misty Day don't want none of that. Like, I don't like Zoe. And then reviving Madison, I was so freaking happy because she's actually like one of my favorite characters on this season. And it was really gross. All the coughing up blood and all that nasty shit. But I mean, I really am happy that she's back because I mean, I would have been sad if she wouldn't have come back, and that's how she died. Like, I don't know. So overall, the scene was good. I hate Zoe now till the end.
Well, I mean, I will say that I'm kind of this. I was just glad that the Frankenfurter person was not going to be in it anymore. And then all of a sudden he popped back up, and I was just like, "Oh God, here we go again."
Were you watching Rocky Horror Picture Show?
I call him Frankenfurter. It's better than Frankenfucker. I just can't stand him. I mean, I just don't like that storyline. I think it was the stupidest storyline, and I feel like they don't know what to do with the storyline, and so they just kind of toss him around everywhere. Every once in a while, he goes crazy and breaks things, and that's all he's done through the whole season. So I'm just kind of like, well, I'm just over that. Anyway, Zoe really pissed me off because I have to agree with Dario, undermining Queenie, who gives you the story of what happened to her grandmother, who tells you very clearly, look, girl, this is bad. You don't want to do this. And I have to say
Zoe, you in danger, girl.
I have to say something really clear.
Did nobody get that?
Nobody cares. I think that's why we're moving on. We're moving on. Nobody cares. Anyway, what I was saying was, I don't care. I don't care. We're not talking about Ghost. We're talking about this.
I don't care.
I have to say that Queenie...
We're not talking about that song.
I don't care.
And looking at this episode... No, seriously, but when you look at this episode, honestly... Did anyone else notice that Queenie had a little bit more like assertiveness in this episode than they've had in the past?
Yes, because I noticed the way that
because of the conversation. She thinks she could be the supreme.
But still, I'm just saying that
but she doesn't really act like that, though. It's interesting because she doesn't cross that line. I don't see that. I don't really see that in her. I think she's still playing the black girl who's had to do it on her own. I mean, even when they were like, "Oh, we need to have each other's backs," and so on and so forth, she was like, "Girl, I don't know if I want no white girls and no sign of fraternal organization having my back." Like, she's being real. Because I don't know about y'all, but I'd be the same thing. Let a couple white boys ask me, "Oh, we're gonna have your back." I'd be like, "Mm-hmm."
Yes,
we
and that's why we love Marshall.
We could grip hands for a little while, but I'm gonna make sure that Pookie and Dante back there too. I ain't trusting you.
Well, you guys kind of just covered how I felt about it. I think Zoe, as my father would put it, is getting hot in the ass.
Yes.
Very much hot.
Are we really going to be talking about rectal sweating again? Rectal juices?
Get out.
This is how I feel about this. Like, everybody knows that, well, I'm sorry, every person of color knows that you don't fuck with the spirit board or a Ouija board.
Nope.
Like, I'm sorry, I don't want to
even a plastic one.
Anyone at any of your Caucasian listeners, but y'all be messing with shit y'all not supposed to.
Y'all be walking through graveyards.
You guys are curious for your own business, like for your own good. Like, curiosity is good, but fucking with a spirit board is not good. And
even the plastic ones, put that out there. Even the new plastic ones.
Even the one that's made by the Parker Brothers. Like, it's just something you don't mess with. And the fact that she she did it anyway, like, as my dad would put it, bitch, you getting hot in the ass. Like, I got really pissed off, and then it kind of just, like, solidified the fact that I really don't like this bitch. And if she ends up becoming the Supreme, I'm probably just going to set my TV on fire.
Right, because I'm really upset about that.
Like,
I'm still pissed off at
I'm
it.
not feeling it. Bitch, you think just because you pulled a little Evil Dead incident and you saved yourself from some funky ass zombies and almost had that ass from the jump, and now you think all of a sudden you can come in and say today, bitch, boo, bye. As far as Misty Day, I still like her, but I'm not really feeling her. And I don't know. That entire storyline was just really fucking weird. The Spalding thing, his hands look fucking nasty. They look like talons, and I almost threw up. But as far as I'm bringing Madison back, I didn't like her in the beginning, but now I'm excited to see what she's gonna, like, bring to the table now. Because at first I was happy that she was dead. Now I'm like, get rid of that Frankenstein shit. I feel like they really wanted to capture the essence of the second season, because in the second season they really added in a bunch of shit. They added in aliens. They added in mutant people. Nazi doctor. They added in a corrupt, like, nun. They added in exorcism. It was so many things going on, and I feel like they really wanted to capture that again in the third season and add in this Frankenstein character. But to me, it's like, I'm not really into things that can't really speak for themselves. That I'm just not really into it. I hope they leave him, like, locked in there for a minute, because I'm done. But
I'm over him, because it's like, it was all cool at first, it was interesting, but now it's just
cute,
too long and drawn out. Like, can he talk already? Can he do something? Like,
But I'm over the
it's
whole.
It's only been like 2 days.
If they
it's annoying as hell.
It's a storyline that's lost, period. It's a storyline that's lost. I don't think they know where they're going, and they're trying to tie it up in some kind of neat way. And they need to really tie something up real quick, because I'm getting over it. Like, I don't even like seeing that. When that comes on the television, I'm so tempted to go and get something to drink or go use the restroom, because I'm just not interested. Yeah. I'm not interested in the story, and it was just a boring choice. I will say that Misty Day, I really think that Misty Day is a surprise character in some way, and I'm just hoping that they begin to start revealing a little bit more about her. I think they're cheating us, because I think there's just so much more that you can go. I think that she's a lot more powerful than just regenerative, but we're only seeing her use that power. And I have to agree that if this girl ends up being the Supreme, I will be highly disappointed.
I will be too.
It's not one of those things because she's white. It's not one of those things at all. It's just like, for once, like, it would be awesome if Nan was the Supreme.
Thank you. That's like, who I want to be the Supreme.
I'd probably shit my pants, even though I feel like that's who she's going to be. I hate the fact that all of a sudden Zoe's got this, I need to fight for myself. I'm not weak anymore, bitch. You was weak from the jump. A weak bitch, stay a weak bitch. Period. I don't know. Like, I just really I wished that they would have just cut the whole Frankenstein thing, period, and gave the fans the hope, like, oh shit, like, and then Madison flipped the bus, and that's all that nigga wrote.
Like, I feel like they could have just, like, kept it in for a little bit and then, like, did something to advance the story more, because now they're just, like, characterizing him as just some animal or barbarian or something.
Well,
and
once you, like, introduce it, because he is a Frankenstein, and the Frankenstein story is pretty much, doesn't Frankenstein meet his demise, like, to a mob?
I didn't even read that book when I was supposed to read it. That's
like,
nobody got time for that.
Yeah, like, a mob actually comes and gets him, and, like, it's not one of those things like Frankenstein was created and then, he went his way. Like, he was killed, and maybe that's what they'll do. Like, I don't know, but I hope they wrap it up quickly, because this is not what I was expecting whatsoever, and that's not even a good way.
Right, but I am kind of glad that Misty Day is a part of bringing Myrtle back, because I was very upset that she was set on fire. I was really upset about that,
because she's nutsy cuckoo.
Well, I think that there has to be some. I truly believe that there has to be some way for Jessica Lange to have to pay for some of the stuff that she's done.
I think so. I think she's probably not going to, like, burned for everything that she did, like, who knows, maybe she'll only get convicted for, you know, the framing of Myrtle, but she won't get convicted for the killing of Madison Montgomery. Like, who knows? Like, it's one of those things, like, I know she's gonna she's gonna pay for everything that she's done, but she's not gonna pay for everything.
Well, yeah, because if she does, but
in every season, like, she gets away with a lot of shit.
But still, like, the first season though, like, she won, but she didn't win, because then, like, that dude was, like, he was the Antichrist. The little kid was the Antichrist. The second one, she didn't really come on top because she ended up becoming one of the inmates or whatever. And then when she got out, like, she had a little bit of time, but she still, like, she didn't rise up on top. They made it as best they could for her, but I think, like, if they don't make it so, like, she doesn't truly suffer, I'm going to be mad.
Well, but it's not only that, but also it goes against the witching ideology, which is that whatever you put back comes back to you threefold. And so that's the whole thing that I've been looking at. I'm like, well, they're doing a lot of the voodoo and witching ideology throughout this whole season. That's one of the biggest portions of witch ideology is that if you I keep fucking it up. If you put something out that's detrimental to someone else, you may not buy now, but you will buy later, and it always comes back threefold. Like, for example, I think what happened to her daughter was because of the stuff that she puts out. Like, you get what I'm saying? So, like, everything comes back. And so my whole thing is, when is it going to come back? Because it has to come back. So I'm not sure if it's going to come back because of the Axeman. All of a sudden he's in the picture, or because Myrtle is, you know what I'm saying, rising from the, or if it's because the new coven is getting sick of her. But either way it goes, she's not. I don't see her coming out on top. And if she does, then I just believe that the writers are just kind of fucking up. They're
kissing her ass.
Yeah, they're going completely, and a lot of people will be able to see through it. So you've got to be realistic. You're going to do a witching story, do the real witch story. In every book, and I've read a lot of witch books, that's always whatever you put out comes back threefold. Whatever you do, if you do something great, it comes back to you threefold. If you do something horrible to someone, it always comes back to you threefold.
It evens out though, because she's done some nice things.
But like,
evening out,
but
canceling each other out.
But yeah, I was gonna say, even when you think about it, I mean, yeah. So she rose, she got what's her name out of the grave, but then she turned around and made her subservient to her. She says she stands up for black rights, but then she makes Queenie subservient to her. Everything is about her. The only reason why she was friendly to Queenie, think about it, was so that she can use Queenie to set up the other witch.
Exactly.
So everything that she does, it looks like it's nice on the surface, but it's really not. It's about her.
Gotcha.
Well, whether she's on top or on bottom.
Life and being like, I'm a good person.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, whether she's on top or on the bottom, let's delve back into the episode. But before we leave Misty Day leaves, I should say, she is offered the chance to stay there with the coven, much like one of you mentioned when you were giving your opinions, but she decides to hightail it back to the swamp.
Yes,
because,
girl.
The vibes.
Yes, girl. She said, I'm getting the hell up out of here, y'all. Mess with y'all. Yes. I'm stealing your butter, but I'm gone.
Exactly.
Girl,
she's
still butter,
fresh
bagels. She pulled to me.
Jellies and shit. But
raided all of their fridge and get the hell out.
I gotta get the fuck out of here.
Exactly.
She said, it's a bad shit going up in here. I ain't staying up in here.
I'll take your food, but I'll walk home.
So we meet Fiona as she's undergoing chemotherapy, and we learn that she's doing that for Cordelia's sake. And she discovers that as a sort of side effect to the chemotherapy, she starts to take on telepathy, and she can listen to the voices that are around her, and she's being sort of tortured by this new power, hearing everyone's thoughts going around her. Basically, she's taken on Nan's power, and
I said I was just about to say that.
Yeah. When Cordelia makes it home, Fiona is sort of delighted to the fact that her newly blinded daughter can sort of see the truth about Hank, because as Hank touches her again, Cordelia's new power of sight sort of goes into effect, and she gets another flash of the really intense, rough hunching that he was doing to the redhead. And so Cordelia's like, "Who is the redhead? Who is the redhead?" And he's like, "I don't know what you're talking about. I think you're high off the meds." She's like, "No, who is the redhead? I want to know who she is." And she hisses at him, "You're going to be accountable to every single betrayal, no matter how deep your secrets are buried." And she sends him away. So Fiona's very happy because...
Well, actually, she didn't send him away. Fiona did, right?
No,
Yeah.
that was Cordelia.
Oh, Cordelia.
I know,
opened the
right?
door?
Cordelia was like, "Fuck up on out of here." Like, she opened the door and closed the door behind him.
Yeah. Fiona was happy because Jughead is apparently out of the picture now. But as Fiona started to help Cordelia undress, Fiona touches Cordelia, and Cordelia gets a peek at her burning Auntie Myrtle at the stake. And so she, Fiona sort of tells her, "Oh, I couldn't tell you because of this that happened to you, but, it's very unfortunate and this and the other. Let me leave you to your emotions right now." Later on that night, as Cordelia is trying to go to bed and get accustomed to her life in her room, now that she no longer can see, the Axeman appears. His spirit appears, and basically he confirms that that room is the room that he died in, which is creepy, and that he was promised release, and that he will not let Cordelia go until he is released. So he basically terrorizes her until Zoe makes good on her promise to release him, and we see that he can now roam about the city. He leaves the house and he heads down the Big Easy into a bar, and he runs into Fiona, who's been drowning her sorrows into a drink glass. And that's when right before she meets this gentleman, she sort of strokes her hair, and she starts to see that her hair is starting to fall out because of the chemo. But
you know what happened?
Mm-hmm.
Them bitches from the craft got her.
No, it was not the craft.
Oh my god.
It just keeps falling out. I don't know what I did to deserve this.
No.
Like, that's what I thought of as soon as you did that.
And so the Axeman sits next to Fiona, and he starts flirting with her. She smiles, and bam. So I know that there's another section of the episode that we still need to go into, but basically, what's everyone's opinion on what I just recapped? And we'll start off with our own precious Miss Kitty.
You're such a dick. You're such a dick. I really enjoyed it. I like the fact that it linked up. And one thing that I was just confused, like, could he always show himself? Or...
Exactly. Yes, that's my question.
Because I was just really confused. I'm like, if he has been in this house since 1919, and he's like, is this the first time they've heard of this?
Or maybe,
or is this one of those
she
secrets?
has sort of
like,
second sight, maybe can she now see him?
Well, no, like, maybe, but I was just really confused.
Or maybe because they made contact with him because of the Ouija or the spirit board.
But that I don't know. That's just, it's still not realistic. If you've been in the house since
there's still like a
1919,
lot of things that don't make any
makes
sense.
This is why I said in the beginning
Because
of the show
now
that
he
I was
can
confused.
roam the streets.
Yeah,
like I thought
Well,
ghosts
because he was
stayed ghosts.
released.
Like I thought ghosts could, like, it doesn't matter. Like, he's dead at the end of the day.
And now
Like,
he's
so now
walking.
he
Well,
can-
everybody
house.
was a ghost in the murder house, but they could go out and
Only on
Did he?
Halloween, though.
Have
Only on
orgies.
Halloween. Only on Halloween could they leave the house.
Still see them and stuff, though.
But
like-
no, he physically left the house, though. Like
Right.
that's the thing. He left the property.
He's at another bar, and that has to be somewhere down in in another.
Maybe
part.
that's
like that's the
what
thing that
release
confused me. I
means.
really liked the ending. I felt like the show, for some reason, the show felt shorter than normal.
It was.
But it was just really weird. Like, there were some things that just really didn't make any sense to me. Like, could he always make himself visible? Did nobody know that the Axeman was murdered in this house? Like, I was just really confused. But in all, I really enjoyed the episode. Like I said, I was really happy that they took a slower pace and it just had more information than just like, my mother molested her son. Guess what? This is going on. Guess what? This is going on. Like, I really enjoyed that. Yeah, I couldn't handle it. Like, and does anyone still know if he had sex with Queenie? Or did he just attack?
I don't know, but she can walk now.
I guess it's not true. Once you go Minotaur, you need a wheelchair, but whatever.
Well, she seems to have healed. She seemed to have healed from her injuries, or if so to speak. But I will say that I completely agree. I totally agree with you. That's one of my big things. Was just like, that's what I said at the beginning of the episode of the recording. I said very clearly, like, I'm confused. And one of the biggest things was like, what the hell is up with the Axeman, and how did that get into the story? And if he's a ghost, I always thought,
how is he having a drink in the bar with Fiona?
Exactly.
Like, that's the
that
thing
doesn't
I
make
hate.
any sense. And also, it's like, even if you release someone, like the girls came together, they released him, but if I'm not mistaken, release would be either they go to heaven or hell.
That's what I was thinking. And then I was like, well,
so
maybe
all of a sudden he's walking out of the, and I'm like, wait a
minute. Maybe
minute.
they did a spell on him. We don't know what happened after they stabbed him. They could have done a whole lot more.
Well, I hope they really fill it in, because
because right now
it's just the fluidity. Like, it's just like we said in first season, they could go on still and chill in the yard if they wanted to. But the only time they could physically leave the house is on Halloween. Not everybody could see them,
But even when they were in their house, they could be could be physical with people.
But
I mean, one of them was a murderer and would kill people.
And rape.
But I'm just saying, like,
Ugh.
Ghosts don't drink. Ghosts don't hang out in other areas that aren't their area.
That I think that's what we're making. It's
like, that's what I'm getting really fucking confused about. Is he a person now? Did they use that spell to to make him a person, or is he still a fucking spirit? Like,
I'm sure it will be explained.
Was she drinking by herself at the bar and only she can see him? Like, that's the only thing that really confused me.
While he was attacking Cordelia, they said some spell or something, did they not? Or
but that's what I said. Like, was that spell to make him human or release him?
And also, in the attacking, he was swinging a ghost axe, so it wasn't even hurting her. It was just scaring her. Because she could see him because of her second sight. But I don't think if she didn't have the second sight that it would even... She couldn't even see him.
Yeah, would it matter?
I don't think so, because she'd been in that house forever and she never saw him. Nobody has seen him.
Maybe nobody tried to summon him. Maybe the fact that he was like...
Maybe that, yeah. Maybe late at night, LaLaurie would rendezvous with him in the closet.
Up.
Oh, God. Let's go on, because we don't have that much time, child, to be going down your fairy tale. But, no, I mean, really, overall, I thought the episode was interesting. There was a lot of explaining. There was a lot of, this is what's going on. But, I'm kind of glad... about, and I guess we're going to get into this, who the redhead was, and that finally was explained. Because for a long time, I've had that question mark up in the air. Like, okay, this girl that just got killed.
Like, she didn't even remember who she was.
Let's actually speak about the
talk
redhead.
about that? Are we... okay, never mind.
Let's speak about the redhead. So, frantic over what Cordelia has figured out, or at least the bits and pieces that she's figured out, and probably even more freaked out about what she could figure out next, Hank, Cordelia's husband, makes a beeline for Cornrow City, where he has a very revealing conversation with Marie Laveau. It's revealed that he's a witch hunter, and he was hired many moons ago to do away with all of the descendants of Salem. In fact, he pursued and murdered the redhead, Kaylee, because he had eavesdropped on her Miss Robichaux's interview with Cordelia, where he learned that she was a witch. She was pyrokinetics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, she could
she
make
was
fire.
needy, and she needed Jesus.
Good grief.
Like, she
And
did,
so-
though. Like, she was... The only thing what she was concerned about having a husband and kids, like... No,
What's
bitch.
wrong with that?
Like, I'm just saying, though, it's how she, like...
You leave her alone.
She's one
Marie
of those
was
people,
not
like...
happy.
No.
Marie was not happy to see him. Firstly, because he just walked through her front door, which isn't
Without an
necessarily discreet.
Without
And-
an appointment.
Yes,
That's why
without
she
an
was so mad.
appointment. And, in the middle of the day, which isn't necessarily discreet. And second, because she was paying him to clean house, not to play house. And she's very annoyed about everything that's going on. She's having all these confrontations with all the Salem witches. And of course, they messed with LaLaurie, because when I plant a fat-ass cracker bitch, I expect her to stay planted, not come back up like goddamn ragweed, as she put it, which was the best line of the episode. She ordered Hank to march back to Miss Robichaux's and to bring her their heads, all of them, burn down that academy to the ground, or else. And if he does that, she may let him live. Bam. So what did everyone think of Hank, the revelations of Hank, and his involvement with Marie Laveau, and the brief scene that we saw Marie Laveau in this episode? We'll start off with the witch hunter himself, Marshall.
Well, I mean, it's interesting because finally we've all, I think everybody's always said that I've made it very clear that I didn't trust Hank. I ain't trust him at all. There's nothing about him that I liked about him. And so to find out that he is a witch killer, oh well, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, really, his character didn't surprise me. The fact that he was connected to Marie Laveau, that was the surprise. And that's what I kind of have an issue with in this episode, is the fact that I don't know, the way that the way that Marie Laveau is being portrayed. I don't know, just not sitting well with me.
I forgot to mention one thing. We have confirmation that Marie Laveau and any of her people were not involved in the acid attack on Cordelia. So that's still a bit of a mystery as to who...
Yes, that's right.
It was
Yeah.
Nan.
No, it was not Nan.
But I no, because Nan was too busy fighting off the undead
Zombies.
Please,
trying to-
Nan was too busy trying to get herself some dick.
Well, I
Okay.
said
Doing
that.
that.
It's the truth.
Marshall.
It's the truth. Anyway, I will go back to say that I wasn't surprised about that storyline. I was surprised that he was connected to Marie Laveau. It doesn't sit too well with me. I don't know why, but I just don't like it. Hank is he's going to buy it in the end. We all know that. Either Marie Laveau is going to kill him or the witches are going to kill him. But, poor guy. I feel bad for him because he's just set to die. His tarot card already reads death. And, good riddance, I guess, to bad rubbish. So that's the way I feel.
He's really confusing to me because on one end he's a witch hunter, but it's like at the very beginning of the season itself, he's like really, really wanting to like have a baby with her and stuff. So that's why
Because he's in love with her.
Yeah, that's why
what
when
Marie
she
said,
was
yeah.
saying all of this stuff, she was definitely right, because I'm like, you hate witches, but it was just so cliche to me. Like his whole thing, like everything she was saying was just very cliche, because it's like you hate them, but you meet them and it's like, wow, I've never had love like this before. I want a baby with her and everything, but he was treating her like shit. Like, I don't know. I don't really. I'm like with Marshall. Like I knew something was funky with him. I would have never expected a witch hunter because I forgot that actually existed. But I don't know. I'm
You
excited.
didn't hear about Hansel and Gretel?
Oh, that shit. I forgot about that. But I don't know. I'm kind of not really interested to see where that goes. Because it's like in the end, you know something bad's gonna happen to him. You know he's gonna die. So it's like, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't trust Hank because, first of all, he's got baby teeth.
And he hunches like a wild man.
Yeah, he hunches like gross, but he has dolphin teeth, and he always looks like he just like this nigga looks like he has a cow that looks his hair like when he wakes up. Like he just always looks disheveled.
Stupid. I'm so done with
I don't really even know what any of that means.
He does
I'm
though.
so lost.
Like he always just looks really disheveled. Like he's just like, what's
dirty.
going on? Yeah, he looks dirty. Like he looks like he stinks. So that's why I don't trust him. I'm really confused. I'm gonna have to agree with Marshall. I don't really like the way that they're portraying Marie Laveau because she's been killing these witches off for centuries. Then that means that she broke the truce that they had, which really makes me mad because then it always comes back to like, oh well, she can't keep on her word. Something simple like right now is when you should have broke the truce. Is when they cut off your boo's head. But you broke the truce a long time ago.
Technically,
time ago. Like you broke it a long time ago. He was trying to be nice, and the fact that you're killing them off, like that's just ridiculous to me. Stop that. Thank you. I'm sorry. I didn't mean
Someone's
to yell
licking her kitty.
But it's one of those things where it's just like the way that they brought him into it. I'm just like, has he been alive for like forever? Like, did she give him a live forever potion? Like, is it one of those things that's a hand-me-down? Like you see a Winchester where they hunt demons, like he's been hunting witches since birth? I don't know. All I know is
he's been employed like for like 6 years, hasn't he?
Okay, I was about to say like
he's killed
I don't
9
trust
witches.
him. I don't trust him because he's got baby teeth. He's got those P Diddy teeth. And that
when people got those like big gums and little teeth and braces?
No, he just has really little teeth.
I haven't known.
And but his character, it just seemed
extra motherfucking high def. You can see all their hair. Yours, because I don't even notice.
The key word is high.
Like no.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Like if you look at him talk, like he has little teeth. I notice weird things, but that's beyond the point. The point is, it sucks because he does seem like a different character, but it seemed a little bit typical, the fact that he's supposed to be hunting and killing these witches and he fell in love with one. Like that was just a little bit too like stereotypical.
And
that
who
was
would
too,
love
like,
her? She's boring.
Well, no, she's getting
Cordelia
alive right now.
Lease on life. Just don't touch that bitch. She'll rogue you to death. She'll truth you to death.
Oh damn! You said rogue. I'm done.
So
She really will.
And but
I could tell you that she's definitely not weak anymore.
No, she's not. Like damn, like I'm just excited for her. I'm excited to see like
but as quiet as it's kept, but quiet as it's kept, she's the one that's gonna. I think it's interesting because
she's gonna learn the most about herself.
But not only that, but I think she's going to learn the most about her mother for the first time.
She's going to learn about that because that was in the promo.
Was like, what did you see? What did you see?
Yeah, we'll talk about that in just a second. We'll talk about that in just a second because that has to deal with the promo. But in wrapping up this episode, I enjoyed it. It was a slower episode. I think that we learned a lot. I like that all of these characters are in the gray. There isn't anyone that's really good. There isn't anyone that's really bad. They're all sort of in the middle now. I don't know who to root for. Like, I really want to root for Marie Laveau, but now, she was the one that broke the truce. And it's like, it becomes kind of difficult now to see who to root for because everyone is kind of in the middle now. Everyone has done something bad and everyone has done something good. So they're kind of all in the gray, which is really interesting. And it's going to be nice to see what they're going to do with all these characters, especially as we're now in the midpoint of the season. So let's talk a bit about the promo. What did everyone think of the promo, especially since we got a glimpse of Cordelia seeing exactly what her mother did to Madison?
Well, I don't know. We don't know what she saw. They didn't show what she saw.
Yeah, we saw
No, we don't know. I keep saying this over and over again. A commercial, an advertisement for the following week. Normally, what we see and what we think is not what happens.
That's true. But speaking of this promo, it basically leads us to believe that she saw exactly what happened to Madison. So
exactly.
I
keep saying exactly. Yeah.
The episode. What does everyone think of them sort of ramping that storyline up by what we saw in the promo?
No, I mean, I personally think that she's so weak. She probably will find out and then she'll just cry. I mean, it's just like all she's done all season is like, oh my god, you cheated on me. Oh, they threw acid in my face. Oh, it's like, bitch, get mad, do something.
Can we talk about her scream really quickly, though? Like, I like the fact that her scream is not like anything you've heard before. Like, her scream sounds like that Wilhelm scream that they use, like, in movies. You don't know who's screaming, but somebody's screaming. Like, it's just like... Cause it just sounds like she's taking a shit. Like, but I respect that. I respect that.
I respect that she shits.
It'll be very interesting. I'm wanting to see what's going on. Like, it seems like the young girls, they're coming together and actually becoming a coven. And I think with Madison...
but we see Queenie straying.
What do you mean?
Oh my goodness, yes, she does.
In the promo, she visits Marie Laveau, and Marie is like,
yeah.
why haven't you come here sooner?
I really hope, I really hope that she tries to take Queenie under her wing, and she doesn't kill Queenie off just for the simple fact that she's a witch. I really hope that they don't do that.
We slept with the Minotaur.
Well, we don't know that. Like, we don't know that, because her stomach was all bloody, and I don't know how y'all have sex, but... At the end of the night, my stomach is not bloody.
She was rocking curtains.
Shut up. We don't like. I just really hope that maybe Queenie takes Marie Laveau's side.
Well, I mean, I'm hoping that I
hope they just don't kill her off. I really hope that she doesn't take her kindness, or she doesn't take that her coming to her as a moment of weakness and tries to get her to trust her and then kills Queenie off, because that would really make me mad.
Well, black on black crime. It would be very disturbing and very upsetting, to be honest with you.
It's kind of like, because her powers could go either way, because she's a voodoo doll, but, like, she's a witch, so it's
exactly.
Like, you never know which way
didn't she say she was
go.
a descendant of Tituba? Didn't she say something like that?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
She was the descendant of the slave who taught the women, right?
Yeah, Tituba.
Yeah.
So this is probably going to be like a really dumb question, but I'm just going to ask it because, knowledge is power. So it's just, I feel like all the Salem witches are like, they're white. So, and then she, sorry.
Those were the descendants of Salem.
Okay, I don't know what's going on. Is she supposed to be mixed? Like, I don't know what's going on.
You're asking why is Queenie black?
It's Africa. Why
because there were what do you call them? Not slaves, but they were the blacks that were not free, but they were free, but they were immigrants, and they also lived among certain Puritan households.
Yeah, wasn't that that was in the, I guess you.
Even if you go and read,
slave from the South went up north.
Right. If you look at
I can see that, but that's still I don't know. I think, who knows, because she is a descendant of Tituba, so maybe that'll work out for her. But it kind of didn't sound like Marie Laveau really spoke too highly of Tituba,
Well, I think that's what we're going to find out. I think we're going to find out really soon. What maybe they're about to go into the legacy of what happened. Why is there a separation, and why are there black witches versus, you know what I mean? People a part of the voodoo education or voodoo, priesthood. So I think that's probably where they're heading now, which would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about the future, since that's what we're doing right now, and into just a couple of spoilers. So listeners, if you don't want to hear any spoilers for American Horror Story Coven, I suggest you turn your volume down low, because it's officially a spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
There isn't too much spoiler information out there. We do have 2 press releases for upcoming episodes. Episode 308 is going to be called The Sacred Taking, and this is the press release. Cordelia rallies the girls in the fight to stop Fiona. A dangerous new enemy puts Misty in the crosshairs. The rivalry between Marie Laveau and Delphine comes to a head. We also have the official press release for the following episode, which is episode 309, and it's called Head. Cordelia's attacker is revealed. Fiona looks to form an alliance with Marie Laveau. Nan learns a disturbing truth about Luke's past, and Luke is the neighbor boy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm scared. I really hope that, something bad doesn't happen to Nan, because she's riding that dick so hard. She's on his nuts so hard. I really hope that it works out for her.
My question is, they didn't give her a Downs boy. I just really randomly thought of that because, I'm glad she has a fine boy in her life.
I will say,
I know, right? She gets hella laid.
Have you guys noticed that they haven't said anything about Queenie though? So what happens here? And who is Delphine, by the way?
Lalaurie, your girl.
Oh, so they get they I guess they have a argument. I guess a fight.
Marie Laveau and Delphine come to a head.
Well, it is.
She's
what
going to be the new Minotaur.
I'm tired of fucking with you. I'm going to bed.
It's just, I just think that. I just want to know right now. My question is, what happens to Queenie? Because they set up very clearly that there's going to be a conversation between Marie Laveau and Queenie. So, my fear is the same thing as everyone else's. I'm hoping that they're not going to kill her off. To me, she's the most interesting of the young people.
I guess.
I think so. I think she's definitely a character to watch. Just because, like we said before, she's not your typical Hollywood beauty. And she's sassy, and I really like that. She's not the token black.
Mm-hmm. And then she speaks.
She's no, I don't trust you, white bitches. I really like that.
I like her, and I like Nan. Those are so far my favorite characters. I could really care less about Madison. If she died again, it'd be fine. No, I mean, the obnoxious white prep girl is old, child. You can see that in the movie Mean Girls. I mean, you really don't need it on this show. It's just girl, get over yourself. You're not all of that, And I just, particularly how she treated Queenie in the beginning. I'm like, girl, seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Really? Seriously, get over yourself. So we'll see what happens. I don't think that Delphine is going to die. I think that
the new Minotaur.
How is she gonna die?
She's going to be the new Minotaur. Yeah. There's no way to transition to this, but we have a little bit of casting scoop. American Horror Story Coven. The White Witch is going to be seen in the flesh. Yes, Stevie Nicks is going to appear on American Horror Story Coven. God. So Misty Day is going to squeal in orgasmic bliss. Ryan Murphy usually does an interview with Entertainment Weekly's Inside TV that is released immediately following new episodes of American Horror Story Coven. And he gave a little bit more information on Stevie Nicks and when you can see her appear. He goes to say, it's episode 10. It's right when we come back from winter break. I had a really good conversation with her and explained to her what the show was, and it's gotten such a big reaction from people. She said, oh, I wish I could be on the show. And basically she's flying in for 2 days and doing her scenes. And he goes to say, I know every person in the show is like, I better be in that goddamn scene. It's funny. He goes on to say that Lily Rabe was freaking out. She texted him the morning that the announcement was made, and she goes, "Is it true? Is it true?" They're trying to figure out what song Stevie Nicks is going to sing with Misty. And apparently, the reason Stevie Nicks appears in the episode is because Fiona's using her as a ruse. Fiona's trying to figure out who the true Supreme is so that the Supreme can actually reveal herself, because Fiona needs to stay alive, obviously, so she has to figure out who the Supreme is. So she tells Misty Day that a Supreme gets many great things in life, like, just all these special things. So she brings Stevie Nicks as a gift to Misty to prove to her that if she exhibits more power, that she's going to get that and so much more. And so then all the other girls come home to see Stevie and Misty singing, and then they're all going to start to try to prove and move much quicker to prove that they are, in fact, a Supreme, or the Supreme, I should say. So, what does everyone think of this information and how they're going to incorporate Stevie Nicks into the storyline?
Well, my question is Stevie Nicks supposed to be a witch, or is she not a witch, just a musician that people think is a witch?
We'll find out, I guess, in episode 10.
I guess so.
I just hope it's not hokey like that random ass scene in the second season when they had a freaking sing along musical.
Oh, that was my stuff though. Like
it was
that
random though. I was just like watching it, and then next thing you know,
Pepper got her groove on. Pepper got a shout out, and she couldn't contain her ass.
I couldn't deal with that. It was funny, but it just was random. It threw me off, and then went into that whole kind of thought process that it was just too much going on. So I hope that doesn't happen this season, because I'm going to be kind of pissed off.
I don't know what to say, because y'all know this is my first season watching the show, so.
Alright, no love for Stevie Nicks. Well, that'll do it for this installment.
Child, all I remember of Stevie Nicks was that voice. That's all I remember.
Ah, shut up. I'm excited for Stevie Nicks to come on, but I really hope they really work it.
What?
I hope they really just work it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I hope that they really work it too, but they could have brought on some Patty with some Voulou Soulou J'ai la Bouwa. C'est soir.
Yeah, well, Stevie Nicks is the white witch and Patty's the black bitch. Now let me stop.
Oh no! Do not call Patty a black bitch. I know. Do not call Patty a black bitch.
Have you ever seen Patty? Have you ever seen Patty LaBelle LaParme and how she like?
Have you ever seen Patty LaBelle rolling on the ground singing?
She was doing a voodoo sing like.
That's what I'm saying.
Ritual.
She should be the queen of the voodoo. She should be one of the high people in the show.
She will be Tituba. I read a rumor that she joined the show.
Instead of her being the Supreme, she's like the ultimate. Well, it would still be the Supreme because
she could be Diana Ross.
She say "Voulou chouchou voué la cougua."
And then next, everybody's penises just fall off.
Okay, good night.
I need to eat.
And on that note, you can join us for brand new installments of Are You Afraid? Coven every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific here on PapiChuloRadio.com. You can like us on Facebook, facebook.com/the letters PCR, the words Are You Afraid? So that's /PCR Are You Afraid? You can also like Papi Chulo Radio on Facebook by going to facebook.com/Papi Chulo Radio. If you have any questions, suggestions, comments, or concerns, you can email us at contact@PapiChuloRadio.com. My fellow witches and witch hunters, can you please wish the listeners, our fellow Covenites, a great night?
Good night. Peace and blessings.
Thank you for tuning in. We look forward to chatting with all of you and entertaining you next week. Don't forget to heat up a nice pot of tea for Spalding.
Oh, that's some bullshit.